The Shoreline Transportation Master Plan update is kicking off Outreach Series 3 with 3 short videos and a survey. The city would like your feedback on draft plans for various travel modes like auto, transit, pedestrian, and bicycle. We also like your feedback on criteria for prioritizing draft transportation projects. This video provides a summary of the draft modal plans. Please watch the other 2 short videos about what we've heard from the community in Outreach Series 2 and the process for prioritizing projects. Let's begin with an explanation of what is the Transportation Master Plan, which I'll be referring to as the TMP throughout this presentation. The TMP is a long-range plan for all forms of travel within Shoreline, including by foot, bicycle, wheelchair, transit, automobile, and much more. The TMP update will guide investments in existing and new transportation projects and programs over the next 20 years. In fall 2020, the city launched a multi-year process to update the TMP with the goal of adoption by the end of 2022. There have been 2 opportunities to give feedback so far. We are currently in Outreach Series 3, and your input will help us shape the draft plan. To date, the project team has assessed existing conditions, conducted 2 rounds of public outreach, developed the TMP vision, goals, draft modal plans, and a process for prioritizing projects. Now we want to hear from you if we got it right. The TMP will identify a list of transportation projects to implement over the next 20 years that include all travel modes such as walking, biking, driving, and taking transit. However, the city has limited resources and can only accomplish so much. Therefore, we developed prioritization criteria to score how well each project meets the TMP goals. We will come back to you in a few months with a draft TMP and prioritized project list based on these criteria. Now, we will shift our attention to the draft modal plans for pedestrian, bicycle, transit, shared use mobility hubs, and automobile travel in Shoreline. This is the draft pedestrian plan. It includes existing sidewalks and future sidewalks identified in the 2018 Sidewalk Prioritization Plan. It also identifies existing and future pedestrian and bicycle bridges, as well as existing and future trails, like the trail along the rail. Lastly, it identifies areas with public access known as unimproved right-of-way that could accommodate a future pathway connection to expand the walking network. Here are some images of what these facilities look like. The next modal plan we'll cover is the draft bicycle plan, identifying and working to achieve a complete network of streets that support safe, comfortable, and convenient travel by bike in Shoreline is an important piece of the overall transportation network. Over the past decade, how we plan for bicycling has evolved. To make communities truly comfortable places to bike, we have shifted our focus to accommodating the types of bicyclists in context to the traffic speed and volume of streets. The project team has categorized bike facilities into 4 typical levels of stress from 1 to 4. As you can see from the images on the far left, level 1 and 2 facilities tend to be trails, which are fully separated from vehicle traffic, or low volume, low speed streets. Level 3 facilities can be bike lanes along our collector and minor arterials. Level 4 facilities include arterials where there are no bike facilities and cyclists must navigate cars. The project team developed a draft vision for how Shoreline streets and trails should accommodate cyclists in terms of level of traffic stress, referred to as LTS. We're planning for a bicycle network of LTS 1 to 3 at a minimum. LTS 4 isn't on the vision map because LTS 4 cyclists are the strong and fearless. that will bike anytime and anywhere without special accommodations. This vision will inform where it makes sense for the city to invest in higher intensity capital treatments and where lower cost traffic calming and signage is sufficient to provide a welcoming environment for cycling. The draft bicycle plan considers how users should be accommodated in terms of level of traffic stress. It includes the following components: existing and future pedestrian and bicycle bridges, and existing trails like the interurban trail and future trails like the trail along the rail. It also shows existing and future trail connections, including the existing interurban Burke-Gilman Trail north and south connectors, as well as the planned 145th Street off-corridor bike network and planned on-street connections to the future trail along the rail. These connections will help cyclists navigate from trails to their final destinations. While these routes have various bicycle treatments, they tend to be on low speed and low volume streets. And lastly, the plan shows existing and future on-street bike facilities. These photos show the spectrum of on-street bike facilities needed to meet the desired LTS level that I showed on the previous slide. Starting with the bike lane on the left, the degree of separation between the cyclist and the road increases as the speed and volume of traffic increases. The next modal plan we'll cover is the draft transit plan. This plan shows the city's vision for transit service in Shoreline, regardless of what transit agency provides the service. The types of service identified in the transit plan include light rail, which will offer high-capacity frequent service in Shoreline with future stations at 148th and 185th. Bus rapid transit, akin to King County's Metro Rapid Ride or Community Transit Swift, will provide bus-based, frequent, and high-capacity service. Frequent service offers bus service every 30 minutes or less. Express bus service offers express service to key destinations like downtown Seattle, and local bus service provides lower frequencies but helps complete the city's connected grid of transit services. An exciting new modal plan we'll talk about is the Shared Use Mobility Hub Plan. Shared Use Mobility Hubs are places of connectivity where different modes of transportation come together seamlessly. Mobility hubs can include space for bike and scooter share, as well as curb space for services like Uber and Lyft. They can also provide amenities like public bathrooms, information kiosks, outdoor seating, bike parking, public art, and cell phone recharging stations. To maximize the use of the upcoming light rail and to support car-light lifestyles, the city is interested in creating mobility hubs in strategic locations across Shoreline. The draft Shared Use Mobility Hub Plan includes potential locations for 18 mobility hubs. The proposed mobility hubs are categorized into 3 typologies. Regional hubs are near light rail stations or major bus stations and should have the most features and amenities, as they will support the largest quantity of people from within and outside of Shoreline. Central hubs will connect to key locations in Shoreline and should have sufficient amenities to support commuting, leisure, and recreation at and around the hubs. Neighborhood hubs are the smallest type of mobility hubs, and they should focus on simple, pedestrian-friendly, and comfortable amenities. The last modal plan we'll cover is the draft automobile plan. The city is responsible for ensuring our streets function even as we grow. The city monitors street conditions and plans for future street capacity needs with level of service policies known as LOS. This is the standard method for measuring intersection operations. It is based on the amount of delay experienced by vehicles at an intersection. Individual LOS grades are assigned on a letter scale, from A representing free flow conditions to F, representing highly congested conditions. It is worth noting that LOSA is not the goal. While little to no delay might be convenient for drivers, it may also indicate that the street is too wide for the demand and that the space dedicated to vehicles could be better used for other purposes like sidewalks, bike lanes, greenery, on-street parking, or other urban amenities. The city must balance the needs of vehicles with the needs of other street users, including people walking and biking. This is especially true in urban areas like King County, candidate countywide centers noted on this map. The TMP proposes to revise Shoreline's LOS policy to allow a little more auto delay at intersections within these centers and along state routes, but maintain the current LOS policy outside these areas. This balanced approach allows the city to incentivize growth in the cities where infrastructure is available to support more trips by foot, bike, and transit, while upholding more stringent intersection delay standards in areas where less supportive multimodal infrastructure exists. This map shows how example travel trips compare under 3 scenarios. For today's conditions, it takes about 12 minutes to drive between the future 185th Light Rail Station and the Richmond Beach Library, which is shown as trip 1 on the map. By 2044, if we maintain our current LOS standard, the same trip will take about 19 minutes. This is due to the expected travel growth related to local and regional growth over the next few decades. Under the proposed policy change, this same trip would increase 3 minutes compared to the 2044 under our current LOS policy. Other common trips around the city would see travel time increases of 1 to 3 minutes based on this policy shift. This proposed change is intended to balance vehicle capacity with the needs of people walking, biking, and taking transit. Now we would like to know what you think about the draft modal plans. Please take the online survey available at shorelinewa.gov/TMP. Specifically, do these plans reflect the kind of facilities you hope to see on shoreline streets? If not, what revisions are needed? Thank you for your attention. Please stay involved. Visit the project webpage and sign up for email updates at Alert Shoreline. If you have any questions, please contact Nora Daly Pang at ndailypang@shorelinewa.gov. Thank you.